Hello everybody, my name is Aceface. Today I'm going to be trying out a Kestrel on a day 1 alpha clone to see if it can tackle a T1 gamma filament. So I'm just seeing what is actually viable for day 1 alpha clones, and this is at least my first test in a Kestrel. Because I'm trying to find an alternative for Caldari players, since before I did Amar with the Punisher, but now I'm doing with the Kestrel. The only problem I see with the Kestrel is that I'm going with basically like a passive tank. You can see here. Passive tank, shield buffer, but the problem I see is that it's not got so much DPS, and I can see this being a problem. How time is a problem. I mean, the Punisher had 100 something DPS, and it was quite slow. I mean, it got the job done, but it was slow, and this is 80, so I can see this being a lot worse, especially since we're running gamma sights, which will be slower since the enemy ships will have buffed. They'll have buffed shield capacity. Turn the volume down a bit. Let's see how it goes. I don't think it'll be much of a big deal surviving. I don't see that being a big issue, but I do seeing it being an issue just to get the DPS down, especially if it is the drone battleship waves. I see big problems there. Okay, striking Leshak shouldn't be much of an issue. Go with our Microwarpdrive. Just head up straight here. I'm using light missiles, so I'll have a good range. You can see here 41 kilometer range, which is really nice. Take the overview down a bit. I'm not used to having this new overview because it's a new character. Alright, let's see how much shield HP we have. 6k shield HP. Okay, so it could be better, but I mean, it's alright. It just seems like it's alright tanking this Leshak pretty decently. He's missing now. He was doing damage before, but let's see. You can also take the bioadaptive. You want to get the loot. I'm on Tranquility, so I'm not on the test server. I want to try this for real, and also just so I can get that 1 million skill points from a link to be able to actually test it out. If you want to try the link, you can for free 1 million skill points. You can click the link in the description. This doesn't seem to at all be easy, but this is not a fair test because first of all, Leshaks, they have an explosive hull, and I'm doing explosive damage, and we are in an explosive or a gamma filament, abyssal filament, so the explosive resistance is going to be reduced there. And also in general, Leshaks have very low HP, so it's not at all a fair assessment to say that, oh look, I just finished this room in 1.5 minutes, of course this ship is good. Nah, what is going to be the most cancerous wave is probably going to be the Charybdis Tyrannos, then maybe the abyssal overmind, the drone overmind. The reason I think the Charybdis wave will be even worse is because in gamma sights the enemy ships have more shield bonus HP, and most of the EHP of Charybdis Tyrannos, so the drifted battleship, is in the shield, and that will be a big problem. The drone battleship, the Overmind, it shouldn't be as big of an issue, I can see, because it has most of its HP in the structure and armor, and as well it has holds, I believe, in the explosive resistances in the T1s as well, so I'll make it even easier. But I mean, it'll still be tough because of how long it'll take. Let's see. The sleepers I don't think there'll be any issues at all. All right, let's just go here. Just like the nice thing about the missiles, and unlike unlike the guns in the Punisher fit I used before as the Amar alpha clone, is that I don't have to worry about transversal, so I can just kind of zip as fast as I want. I want to keep a range from this automatic suppressor, because you can see here I'm not doing any damage because it's all of my missiles are getting shot down. So actually I'm going to keep at range at this guy at 30 kilometers just to stay away from him. See here, DPS is really bad, and this is also something I really dislike about using a missile ship like this. It's like, say for example I had a battleship and he was just chilling near that automatic suppressor. I mean, combined with us having a low DPS, it'll be even harder because of how hard it is to kill battleships in this kind of frigate style ship. So it'll be a real challenge if a battleship decides to just chill near an automatic suppressor, because all our missiles will just get shot down. Yeah, and this is a big issue I see in general with Caldari pilots in the Abyss, is that you rely on missiles, and missiles don't seem to have as good DPS as light beam lasers as the Amar have. I mean, it can do good DPS, but it's not as good. The trade-off is that it has you have really good range, and also like I said before, you don't have to think about transversal velocity, so you can just kind of zip in any kind of direction you want. You'll have no issues with tracking, unlike the beam lasers, which if I just take random turns like this, I'll often not do as much damage. But here I'm just shooting as much as I want, no biggie. He's just going down. Ephialtes, you're no match for the Kestrel, the mighty Kestrel. I actually heard that the Kestrel is being redesigned, and I really am looking forward to that. I always hear people raging about, oh, don't remove my beloved Kestrel or whatever. But this model, honestly, it looks so outdated to me. I've seen some of the futuristic designs they put, and I think it looks so good. It looks so good, like concept arts. And I just like I like the concept of it, but I really think it could use some kind of polished model that looks a lot more modern, or like more up to date. This looks like a real 2003 kind of model style right here. The Manticore, for example, I think that looks really good, but the Kestrel, I think this looks like some really old looking model. Okay, go to the bioadaptive. Actually, I want to stay close to this guy because we're not going to be doing any damage if we're not close. We're at like 41 kilometer range. You can see here, by keeping our distance, it's going to go really well. We wouldn't take any damage, hardly any damage from being out here. Okay, now we are taking damage. Got a smash hit there. Smashes, you want to be careful with those. Just do extra damage. Okay, now one of the 3 sleeper cruisers down. Two of the 3. Only one to go. Okay, well, I'm going to approach this bioadaptive right here. Orbit it, just to keep my transversal up. This guy should has no chance. See, wait, okay, there he is. He's trying to, I think he's trying to approach me. Yeah, he's trying to approach me. He's not trying to orbit, it seems like. I'm not actually sure what the optimal range of the Ephialtes are, but it seems like it's about that 20 kilometer range, because you can see now I'm taking damage, but before I was not, when I was a bit closer away, or further away. Let's target this bioadaptive right here. Okay. Where most of the loot is located. We could obviously go for the extraction caches as well, but honestly, it's not really worth it in the T1s. T1s, you don't get the particularly good loot from it. The bioadaptive is multiplied by 3 compared to the normal bioadaptive cache, so it's always, this is where you want to go. Seems like, so the shields are down, so it's going to go very quickly. Everything else, I think also the sleeper cruisers also have a lot of EHP in their shields. Okay, dead. Should be just this volley or the next. Okay, there we go. You can see here I'm getting achievements because this is a really new character I just made not long ago. I think actually I have some skill points to spare, yeah. But I don't want to make a full guide yet because this is just like a test, and I honestly do not have much hope, even though this is the initial test. I just want to see what happens. It's more like an experiment rather than a test, because I don't really expect to survive. Often in tests I usually expect to survive, but this is more just an experiment. I just want to see what happens, how the DPS fares. This is also one of the worst gamma sites because we've got minus 30% explosive resistance. We can also get a minus 50% explosive resistance, and that will obviously make it better for us because we'll do more damage since the explosive resistance is reduced even more. But as you can see, it's only 30%, so it's going to be even slower. They'll have higher resistances. And this shouldn't be much of an issue here either. This blast needle wave, rogue drone wave, I think they also have an explosive resistance hole. Yep, they even have an explosive resistance hole. Not in their shield though. The shield is going to be tough, but in their armor there, it's going to be very easy. And as we just orbit these guys, very simple, no big deal. See, now we've got 35% explosive resist. So that is obviously, you can see that was obviously reduced here. Usually that'll be at about 50% in Kestrels, or standard Kestrels. I'm not using any multi-spectrum shield hardens because I don't have the CPU requirements left, so I'm just using the passive compact EM shield hardener. I could maybe even replace that with just a standard shield extender, but I think actually I need a little bit of EM resistance since we've got otherwise 0% EM resistance without that, I think. Okay, if we deactivate this EM resistance, no wait, no, we not want to do it live in the fitting simulator, please. Okay, yeah, you see that 0% EM resist. I was actually considering using a Caldari Navy hook build for this, because the Caldari Navy hook build can achieve about 100 DPS on with the skills I have, and that is a lot more reasonable than the 85 DPS we had. The Punisher obviously does a lot more. It was about 130, even 140 when I got when I was training a bit better skills. So that seems to be pretty optimal. That's actually probably one of the best day 1 alpha clone ships, because of how the Punisher just inherently has a very good DPS. It has 4 hard points, a lot of low slots freeing up for damage modules. It's just really good for T1 alpha bits. But I think actually the Tristan could also be a good alternative for Galinta pilots, because of how the like it uses drones, so it's going to do a lot of damage. But on the other hand, I think it'll be a bit of a problem, because you'll have to have a lot of skills to be able to fly those drones, or at least fly them properly to be able to fully utilize them. I think yours drones 5. Well, how much skills points do you need here? Drones 250,000. Okay, it's not that much. 250,000 for drones 5. So you could easily get that on with the skill point package you get from the referral link. So that'll probably be an alternative to use the Tristan for the Galinta pilots. I think it'll go good. Most of the damage I could see being used in the drones, because of how you'd have to use railguns, and railguns are really hard fitting, and also they hardly do any damage in railguns, because you don't want to use blasters, especially if there's like the rogue drone. In the rogue drone battle cruisers, they'll rip you to pieces if you try to get in blaster range. It would have been nice to use also rockets, but on this ship, but again, if you're on the rogue drone battle cruiser wave, it's gonna rip you to pieces. If there was some way to like kind of switch ammo types that will do more damage, like have a longer range, that'd be good. But I think the javelin ammo that you used, or whatever the long range ammo you can use in rockets, still doesn't give you particularly good range, and also the damage is also really bad with it. So it's just, in general speaking, not a good alternative to light missiles with the crazy 40-kilometer range. You can just snipe really far with it, as far as you can target. Alright, that's it for this T1 Gamma. So we did it in 11 minutes, and honestly, I don't think that's a good time considering the waves we got. We got rogue drones. Rogue drones are one of the easier waves in terms of time. Very little EHP to destroy. We also had the single Leshak wave. Leshaks are also extremely easy. They're one of the lower HP or EHP waves out there. So I'm happy with this test because I didn't die, but I think I still need to find a better alternative that has more DPS. Another alternative I was thinking is also, because I seem to be tanking alright. I mean, my shields went to 30%, something like that. So, okay, could be, maybe it's not, because I was using a gamma sight, so obviously I'm going to have more shields. And we went to 30%, so maybe we could perhaps take it to kinetic sights. Then we could use kinetic missiles, and we'll do more damage to stuff like Charybdis or other, in general, most targets, because of how the shields won't be buffed like in the gamma sights. But then also, we'll maybe also ourselves have problems with tanking. So that could also be an issue. So that's it for this test in the Kestrel for day 1 Caldari Alpha Clone, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.